Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and I am joined today by my brother, the Gritty Broman, behind the camera. How are you, Brent?
I'm well. Thank you.
Good. Today's podcast is with Canvas Cutter. Our friend Seth Larsen and John Tanner from Canvas Cutter come on down, and we sat down and we talked about their new ultralight canvas cutter. And we get into air pads a little bit. We get into a bit of an air pad debate.
It was a gear debate because Seth was talking about this awesome gear, and Brian goes, "It's trash."
We argued a little bit, and it's kind of interesting. I think you'll enjoy it. These guys are just cool dudes to hang with, pretty chill. But here they are coming out with some cool products. The Canvas Cutter Bedroll we've talked about. They were on the show, but now they have an ultralight, and it's something to consider. Mm-hmm. It's not a Baby Sac, no, but it's not it's a bedroll, but it's packable.
Think about ticks.
But he was talking about, it's like 5 pounds with his pad, sleeping bag, and pillow, and
a blanket,
and the ultralight roll, bedroll. Not too big, about the size of a sleeping bag. Drop it in your pack, you go. You don't have to pitch a tent. There's some pros and cons to it, of course, but it's an interesting piece of gear. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually pretty excited to try it. Especially, I really think it's a spring, summer, early fall kind of piece of equipment.
It really is.
And for where you're not expecting a ton of rain, a little bit, but just not, piles of it. I do like the idea of glassing from inside of it because you know me, when it's cold, I do like to climb inside my sleeping bag and just glass wherever I'm at on a perch, on a mountaintop or whatever.
How often do you spot game doing that, though?
All the time.
Really?
Because I think that if you're not comfortable when you sit down for a 5-6 hour stint looking through the glass, first of all, I don't think people realize how
exhausting.
How many hours Ryan Lampers and myself are in the glass. Like literally every spare second, every moment, like we're trying to look through optics, covering views, especially for big bucks and later in the season, from morning till dark. We feel like we're not doing our job if you're not peeping the mountain and every crack and everything constantly, and all it takes, we'll hunt 8 days, and all of a sudden, toward the very last day, some buck stands up, walks 10 feet, and then disappears again, and it was a giant, and now the chase is on, and if we not looked in that exact moment at that time, as much as we do for that many days in a row, that thing wouldn't have been there.
Yep.
And I think that's what separates the success for those giant old deer, old bucks from those that don't do that, right? The persistence, just the constant glassing. And for me, your hands get really cold, or your face, or or your feet from sitting still. It's when you can get inside a warm thing and settle up and get out of the wind and just really look for a long time. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to be in the wind to see because the animals are out of the wind. So naturally, if you're going to look at where the animals are, the wind is at their back where they're shielded. That means the wind is hitting you in the face as you're trying to look into the wind. When you set up and you go, oh, this is a great spot, we're out of the wind, and you're glassing, you're probably not going to see anything because all the deer are on the same side of the hill that you're on. So definitely, there's things to it, but being able to set up, yes, for long hours and being comfortable during glassing ensures that you stay. It's sort of like being in a tree stand. I think it's an art. If you can, I don't understand the weakness of people who get in a tree stand in the morning, get down in the afternoon, go home, do other things, and come back. I'm too ADD anal. I keep thinking that the time I get down, that's just more scent, more time. I'm blowing things, pushing things around, and then I got to come back in. And it's probably the whole time I'm there getting a snack, taking a break, I'm thinking the buck is under my tree stand walking by.
I think you just have a case of FOMO.
I can't stand it.
The moment I've gone, he's going to come over.
Besides that, I want to be in the hunt every hour, every second, every minute until it's over, until I punch that tag. It's hard for me to relax. So but I think the success, especially late season in such a cold setting, is to set up in a tree stand, get a tree stand gear set up, hand warmers and such, little tricks, all the things to make sure you don't get down and quit. That's what keeps you there.
So is Ryan a proponent from glassing from his sleeping bag? Because I've never seen footage of him doing that, but I've seen footage of you doing that.
Ryan had multiple pairs of puffy pants and puffy jackets.
That's true.
And puffy pants are like a sleeping bag.
A walking sleeping bag.
But feet can get cold if they're in the wind. Even
I think
in boots and stuff.
Long hair gives a lot of insulation.
It's hard to say.
Hippie grease makes this cake, right? And then just impenetrable by wind.
I don't know. It'll be it's going to be a fun season though. We got bear season coming up here real soon. Yeah, right now we're doing some giveaways, folks, and we want to make sure that we push those out there because we don't promote ourselves all that well. We just make content and then not talk about it much. And we're going to give away one of these sweet ultralight canvas cutter bed rolls to one lucky person who leaves a comment on this Sunday's film. So on the YouTube channel. So we're going to drop episode 3 of our Kodiak hunts. And we're planning to drop 2 more. So we have a total of 5 for Kodiak. That's what we're thinking, Brent. We're running a little frazzled right now with production because we're trying to produce a couple, like 3 more films for...
Before Brian walks out into the woods for a month.
Yeah. So we're trying to finish 3 more films for the locals community that's exclusive to them while also trying to drop 3
6 more films in the time we would normally do 3 before you disappear.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm not stressed at all. So we're hoping you guys enjoy all the extra content, but to get access to the other films, the additional films, you got to become a supporter over there on locals.com. But we're giving away the bedroll. So this Sunday, check out our film on YouTube, and I hope you enjoy it. So far, the comments have been awesome on the first 2 episodes of the Kodiak films, and this one's pretty cool. You're gonna see some cool fox footage. And I cannot believe the color phases of the fox on Kodiak Island, and
or Kodiaks in general.
Yeah. So to be entered to win, it's the usual. A lot of you guys know the drill. Watch the film, leave a comment on the YouTube channel on the video itself, and go ahead and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you're entered, and we're going to pick a winner in a week, the following Sunday. So check that out. Right now, we're doing some giveaways. We're giving away a Hoyt bow if you join us on locals.com. And Locals is our own community that we have created. It's a cool community. I'm starting to see more and more people join. There's more and more engagement. It's basically like a private Facebook group, only it's not censored by Facebook.
And it's full of cool people that are interested in hunting, in reloading, in mushroom hunting, in shed hunting.
Right. It's a cool group we're building, and it will, I'm telling you, it's going to keep growing because we're going to make sure it does. We're continuing to put cool content out there that is exclusive to people who join up. And the way it works is you can be a member and you can view, I'd say 80% or 85% of everything that goes up, but you just can't interact with it, right? Unless you become a subscribed member, which is $7 a month. Right now, you know, if you go out there, there are a couple films out there that are exclusive, and there's quite a few podcasts that are exclusive to people who have become supporters of the community. But there's like 1,000 people that are there just viewing without signing up with $7 a month, and you can do both. I predict that a lot of those people will become supporters as soon as we drop like
they're just waiting
8 or 9 epic episodes of hunts that are killer adventures. For those that just, it's not on your budget or whatever, we are still going to put a ton of content on YouTube and we're thinking Rumble. We're looking at making sure that we're still out there on Instagram. We're still posting on these mainstream.
We're diversifying our portfolio.
Yeah, but we're just going to try to incentivize everybody to support us directly. So we are not dependent on corporations or big tech, either one. We want to be independent. So the more we can be supported directly by those who like our content, the better off I think our future will be. So we're giving away cool stuff every month for people who are supporters. And right now we're giving away a Hoyt bow, an RX4 Ultra for one lucky person who's become a supporter of the community, who's joined up, who's paying $7 a month. You're in, and like I said, it's a little awkward for people when they first go onto locals. We'll sort that out. We're going to put out some videos on this is how locals works. This is how you use it, probably in the next week or so, because it is really cool. And I won't be surprised if I start seeing other people, my peers, also create their own little communities because of the way that the interface works. And I think they're in the same boat. They're always dealing with not being supported directly by the fan base instead are supported by corporations. And I think that level of independence is something that we all crave. And the way that cancel culture is and the way that corporations just bail out as soon as the first rocky waves hit, it's just...
I was going to say, this is going to become much more common, direct support from your followers.
I'm seeing it. You're seeing it across the board with a ton of content creators that are saying, I'm leaving these platforms, or at least I'm building a dual platform over here. And it's basically a home. It's a gritty, stealthy home where we can put a whole bunch of content that's exclusive. It's going to have live streaming capability soon, and I'll be able to live stream like with Ryan on a regular basis and interact with those who are supporters. So that's going to be cool.
It'll have films. It'll have its own podcasts, and we're going to be doing lots of giveaways on locals.
Right. So
like this Hoyt belt.
Support us if you can over there. Also, before we get into the podcast, check out Sheep Feet and some Mountain Ops, because I think those are two relevant things right now. You're kind of getting ready for the off season. Get some supplements. Get some Sheep Feet, because I think those, I'm using them for both running and for hiking. And those are custom orthotics for inside your boots or your tennis shoes. And Mountain Ops, use the code GRITTY at both places and you get a discount. Use the code GRITTY at Mountain Ops. Get yourself some Ignite and some pre-workout Yeti, or some whey protein, other things, Slumber for sleeping at night. There's some handy stuff.
Yeah, they've got some natural testosterone boosters over there too. A lot of people have been asking about does that stuff even work? Is it any good?
Yeah.
It can boost a couple percent.
Yeah. So with that, let's dive into the podcast. Here we go. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am joined today by Seth Larsen. Seth, what are you, like? Is it owner extraordinaire of Canvas Cutter? Is it president?
Job title.
Is it presidente?
Yeah, that's actually, if you look it up, that's exactly what it is. Yes.
El Jefe.
El Jefe. Mm-hmm.
And John Tanner. And John, your title is brother-in-law. Yep. And also what else?
And also owner.
Presidente.
Also, yeah.
Presidente.
Presidente.
Deuce.
Numero dos.
Nice.
Numero dos.
Right on. And we're going to talk a little bit about some Canvas Cutter. For those that haven't heard the previous podcast we did a couple weeks back, go back and listen to that. It was fun.
It was fun.
And we went over some of the products and what you're doing and what a Canvas Cutter is. I've been using the Canvas Cutter for a long time, and I love seeing the number of people out there that are getting their hands on it. We dropped that podcast, and the number of people who DM'd me or left comments saying, yeah, I've been running mine for a long time, or I've wanted one of these for a long time. There's a group, man, hardcore group that is on the Canvas Cutter.
Yeah. They're living the load, go dominate lifestyle.
That's
you know
right.
What I'm saying?
And rightly so, because it is an effective and efficient piece of gear. One of the things that I thought was interesting, because the price point's not low.
No.
And so I think some people are like, oh, it's just a bedroll. And that's one of their first, how can it be this expensive?
Yeah.
But on the last podcast, we talked about the fact that it's actually it's expensive to make. It's not as simple as it appears on its surface.
Yeah, I actually got an email from a guy who he had gone to our website and his wife sews and his son wanted one. His son was going to do this big trip, but he didn't want to buy it. So he was going to have his wife rip it off, like sew one. And his wife started actually looking closely at the photos, and she's like, yeah, I can't do that. And so he emailed me. He's like, so I'm going to purchase one. Which one do you suggest I get? My wife said they're not that easy to sew. And that's true. Plus, if you just make it out of regular canvas, it's
not going to
it's not going to happen. Yeah, you'll get wet. And Yeah, it's subpar for sure. But
It's I've got a few. I've got them in my camper. I love using them on a cot, and you might as well have a big old wide cot if you're car camping anyway.
Yeah,
but it's great on the ground too. But the cot's nice.
The cot is nice. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on the ground or in the back of the truck. But on our trip to AZ this year, I did cot it up. John and I both cotted it up, actually.
Yeah, I usually do a cot or the truck.
Yeah.
I got the cargo trailer decked out with bunks. We cram the dudes in there, and it's nice.
Yeah, when I was in high school, my dad's friend had a big cargo trailer. He did construction, cement work, and he converted that into like almost a camp trailer. And we would have 4 or 5 cots in there with bedrolls on them. And it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I really want to convert mine, deck it out. I've talked about all these ideas and plans for it, but at the end of the day, it takes time and money and energy, and I'm too busy trying to do what I do otherwise.
Yeah.
Now I think about buying one, but then I'm too cheap to buy one, and so it's just the raw utility trailer with the beds in the back.
Well, I think those are sweet because it's like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
You can really create what you want
a blank
out of it.
Canvas. Nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Right.
And a lot of people quickly understand with the price point as well. If you're going to buy it one time,
it's not going to wear
really
out.
not that. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. A lot of people, I say this all the time, but it's true. People will spend that much on like a really good down puffy,
or they're spending that much on a couple nights in a hotel.
A couple nights in a hotel, you'll spend that much.
I made a comment about how screw the hotel, and the guy's like, I think I'll take the hotel and the shower over that, and I'm like, not me. What hotels are you staying in? I can't afford your hotels, and the cost of your hotel when it's that nice bothers me.
Yeah,
and the cheap hotel, I don't feel like I get my money's worth. It's like a roach.
Exactly. Yeah,
and the shower does nothing for you because you can't. No, you don't feel clean
spreading
getting
the
out
germs all over you.
Yeah. No, I just don't have the. It's hard to stomach the cost, but yeah, it's not that much of a initial purchase, and then it's something you have. You look at a big Agnes air pad and a nice sleeping bag, and or I use the Thermarest Neo Air. You're in it some money.
Do you like the Thermarest?
I don't like the big Agnes that Ryan uses, the Q-Core. I like it. It's too cold.
Have you heard the...
it's not insulated enough.
See, I have the insulated one, but it's heavier for sure.
Zubelieve?
It's super light. It's only 1.1 pounds, and it's got like a built-in pillow.
Right, it's got built-in discomfort.
No, it doesn't.
It sounds like very uncomfortable.
Whoa,
to
time
me.
out. Anytime you say air pad, that equals discomfort.
Whoa. So, if you're comparing it to a canvas cutter, perhaps. But
if you're comparing it to 3 inches of mattress foam, so because I have the Climate Static V insulated right now that I'm using.
Another one I don't
lightweight,
like.
And
there's a lot of pads I don't really care for.
Well, you're a sensitive guy.
The Neo Air has the horizontal baffles instead of the vertical.
Sam Hill, he said horizontal baffles instead of vertical. Yeah. Why does that make a huge difference?
Because they stay when you get on a vertical.
Static V
they go like this, and it just sticks up on both sides. When you sit in the center.
Yeah, but they also build the padding on the sides to stick up so you don't roll off. It's It's
not that way. It's like when I'm sitting on it, and the head is over here, and the feet are over there, and I'm sitting on it like a chair. Okay,
right,
in the middle. I don't want my pad popping up on each side like this around my ears, or I don't want my butt touching the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. When you have a horizontal baffle, it just doesn't do that as much. Okay. It supports your weight in the center. Like there's no point. And I have a big butt. And
I was looking at air pads today.
Now they've done some things to improve those vertical baffles. That are like chambered and things like that, so it doesn't do that. Or if you fill it with a lot of air, it'll kind of stop from going like that. It's just so full, but it's pretty hard.
The one that
I've never slept on one that I've liked. So
yeah, neither have I. I hate
the Neo Air is shaped like I'm a broad-shouldered dude, and I don't like it when my shoulders are hanging off the pad, and a lot of those pads are too narrow, and then when there's all that pad at the bottom that's not tapered, and so it's extra weight.
That's true.
And I don't have my feet on there. My mummy goes down, and so the Neo Air is really shaped. It's efficient for the weight. I don't like the valve.
Do you know right now, off the top of your head?
Brent can found out how much does the Neo Lite weigh. It's insulated like R4, so I don't feel the cold air through it. When I throw it on snow and I'll sleep. That Q core, I don't know how Ryan sleeps on it. He says it's fine. I can feel the cold air coming through it, and I can't sleep.
The one that I ordered today just to try out, it has like pockets rather than vertical or horizontal chambers. It's got the pocket chambers.
Yep.
And it's got
so does it have like pleats almost?
Pillow, almost, yes.
I hate those too.
No, they're not deep pleats. No, it's more like lines. It's like a bunch of cubes
Okay.
stacked together.
Oh.
But it's only...
What size in the Neo Lite? Small, regular, large, regular, wide?
The size for me.
Okay, it's probably like a
Pound.
Yeah, this one's about a pound, and it's got the built-in pillow. And I usually use, I really like Climate's, one of their blow-up pillows. It's like the Luxe. It's got the cover on it. But if you can get rid of the pillow, and I would shed almost a pound off my AirPad too with this.
How big is the pillow bump, though?
It's 0.43 of a pound.
I hate
a half a pound.
air pillows. Hate.
So do I.
Hate.
This one's great. I'm not joking, dude. I hate air. AirPads, hate them. Air pillows, hate them. This one's great.
That Q core is actually pretty comfortable, but I have to get one that's so wide, and then it's square. It doesn't taper, so it just adds a lot of weight. And I don't feel
the taper.
I don't feel like it's a whole lot more comfortable than my Neo Air. It's like an inch taller and thicker, but I mean the air is distributed well enough, and it's got the insulation in it, so it doesn't. Now Ryan got an X-Therm.
I'll have to look at
which
that.
is the next level warmth above the Neo Air.
I like the tapering to save weight.
And those are thermarest?
They're the same.
That one's a Thermarest. The X-Therm, it's kind of the cat's meow. And I think it has a much better valve than the one that I have. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I've had a few Thermarests, and the valves always were trouble.
They don't let air in and out easily.
Yeah.
They're like that little but they do. I think the X-Therm has a air pump bag that you can, like our alpaca rafts do.
Dude, my dad showed me a sweet
pump that
backpacking, battery powered, and blows up that air mattress so fast. It weighs nothing too, and it will blow it up like in a ton of times.
The name?
You charge it. I have it on my phone. I took a picture of it because I'm ordering it.
I've seen them, and they sell them with some of the deals, and it's like sweet. I'm just so I can blow it up with my mouth. You know, like do I want to pack the weight?
Yeah, because
like
it weighs
30.
Nothing. It's called the tiny pump.
It's like 30.
It weighs
5
nothing.
blows,
I was holding it,
and it's pumped up. 35 blows. Done.
And you get the little buzz of being lightheaded.
Well, I'm tougher than that. I have good oxygen.
You already talked about that in the TRT, right? You got strength, but you have shit for lungs, right?
Well, I can still. Yeah, Ryan blows his up faster. That's fine, whatever. But, how much does it weigh? Tiny pump.
Nothing. Yeah.
Brent, look up the tiny pump by Flextail Gear.
It's sweet. And it blows pretty good.
I want to know what it weighs nothing really means, because
I held it in my hand and didn't know it was there. It's rechargeable.
Well, hurry up.
It's rechargeable.
Awful slow.
It's pretty sweet.
Tiny pump.
5.29 ounces.
Less than 5.5. 5 ounces. That's too much weight, dude.
I'll blow it up with. I thought here he is talking about how strong he is. He's like flexing, and then he's like 5 ounces.
Look, I'd be happy to bring it if it.
All of its attachments.
Yeah, you don't have to take all the attachments.
4 ounces.
or
you
less.
might be
Because it comes with a ton of attachments. And it's rechargeable, bro.
How many air ups do you get out of it without having to charge it?
It's a lot.
You could probably use it as a
No
fan,
joke.
too, if it got
You can.
a little
It blows
hot.
pretty powerfully. For 40 minutes, and guess what? It probably takes.
That's probably
with the amount of air coming
that's
out.
at least
I bet
2
it
weeks
takes
to
a
blow
couple
up.
of seconds on the. Yeah, it will deflate too. You're sucking all the air out of that, and the benefit of that is you're sitting here breathing in all this condensation into your air pad, and bro, that's not coming out, and then it just becomes. And you're
Look at the
sticking your mouth
salesman
on
over
that
here.
every single time. Just saying.
No, that is
You got a lot of condensation inside your air pad.
Yeah.
$27 for the thing,
$27.
and it's 4 ounces.
I hope
you
this
could get me
company
maybe with 4 ounces,
Hits me up for the
and,
sales
and
I'm
it
giving
can,
them.
and if it can actually keep on rocking for 40 minutes, you said probably takes a minute to air up, 2 minutes.
No, it's blowing intense amounts of air. I guarantee,
Right, but it'll
it's
air
like
up
30
in
seconds.
30
your pad will
seconds.
be
Your
up.
pad is
Really?
It
That's
blows
worth
pretty
it.
powerful. It's pretty sweet.
You're
I'm
not
just saying you
expending
should
all
check
that
it out.
energy.
Yeah, you're not sitting there for like 25
It is
minutes.
nice.
blowing
It's
up
not
your
that-
air pad.
dude. I
Breathing
can
in
blow
all
it
this
up in like a
hot
couple minutes.
condensation, just turning your air pad into mold. I bet each year you're probably adding 5 ounces to your air pad with all the condensation you're breathing into it. And mold.
Yeah, my camera lens is.
Which one did you get?
I have a 200 to 600 millimeter G series.
Yeah.
It's literally. It's
Why do you, yeah, I was going to ask
it's about
you
as
that.
big as my thigh from my hip to my knee.
You might need to save weight then. This might not be for you.
Yeah, definitely save weight.
I mean, you
don't
can look
want
it up,
5
Brent, and see how
ounces.
much that 200 to 400 millimeter G series lens weighs.
Why do that versus running like
A spotting
a
scope.
fixed 70 millimeter? Yeah, with a spotting scope. Image quality.
Um,
Because you're saving weight. You can phone
Right.
scope through spotting and get pretty decent footage nowadays. And saving.
have you seen my
some weight.
footage?
Yeah, it was pretty decent.
It
Bro, I've watched it, dude. I film and edit myself. I give you props all the time. I think it's great.
what you're getting, like, I will admit I've seen really nice phone scope footage coming from Drake. And I like his stuff.
Well, I appreciate your care for quality, though, because a lot of people, I think, have grown accustomed to when an animal's out feeding across the canyon to below average footage, where you're keeping it clean and sharp, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, if you
It
go
stays good.
and you look at Donnie or not Donnie, Stephen Drake, and you should follow him on Instagram. He's got a cool IG page. It's just Stephen Drake photo, and he does awesome stuff. But I've looked at I followed some of his vlog content, and I've seen his footage that he captures, and I believe he's a pretty sick digi-scoping setup. Now, most of the time, I'm not happy with that. Now, when he's doing a digi-scoping setup, he's not using an iPhone, I believe. I'd have
using a
to
camera.
ask him. I think he's
Kinda like a
using
phone
a
cam.
4K DSLR or mirrorless type setup to get what he's getting. I don't know that that's a whole lot different than what I'm doing with my lens.
Weight-wise, it could be. If you could get an attachment to throw your camera onto an adapter to throw it onto your spotting scope, you'd save some weight.
But the spotting scope he's using to get that quality of footage is a Hubble telescope. Have you seen his?
No,
It's the 95 mil, I think, Swaro.
Yeah.
The thing's, what is that, 7-8 grand? Or I don't know how much it costs. I
You're
can't
pretty
remember.
much
it's
just
gotta be
making a
heavy.
decision. I'm either going to pack a heavy lens or it's going to be a heavy setup regardless if you want quality.
I can tell you that iPhone through a spotting scope, I'm not interested in. And the reason for that is simply because of what I can do
in post.
in post.
Yeah.
It's all about what I can do with color grading and editing when I get home. It's not because it's not good. It's great. It's close-up footage and it's pretty clear.
It's not.
But I
good.
can't color it, and I can't add the highlights, the shadows, and all that stuff that I want to do. And I can't
Especially
crop
with an
it as
iPhone.
much.
The color is super saturated. That I had a problem with our Idaho hunt because I did phone cam through when
And then
he
you
was
can
going
change
after
some
that
of those
elk.
settings, but
You can, but still, I tried to kill it off, and still in post,
Look,
you could tell it was so saturated.
it's not the same sensor as my Sony A7 III.
Yeah.
It's not the same kind of setup. So if I get the mounts where I can mount like a camera like that to a spotting scope, I'm closer, but I might as well run a lens,
Yeah.
camera lens at that point.
Yeah.
And I also want to have both going at the same time. I don't want to be filming. I want a camera lens filming and I want a spotter looking. And I want to take a shot, let's say. I want someone on the spotter, someone on the camera separately. I don't want my spotter tied up filming. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people could argue that you could do both because you
You
can
could.
still spot while it's filming. But
You could.
no, I actually, you might be converting me a little bit because I was looking at bigger lenses. I was looking at that lens. Tamron has, or it was Tamron. I thought it was Sigma, but they also have it's a 200 to 600 that looked pretty sweet that I was going to get. But
It's
then I
much
was like,
smaller than mine. Much lighter
was-
weight
yeah,
than
yeah. The G is super heavy.
yeah.
5 pounds for the 2 to 600. The 4 to what was yours?
I have a 1 to 4 and I have a 2 to 6. And I thought the 1 to 4 was big. It's
See, I
like
was gonna get
it's
that 2
like
to 6
a
and-
baby.
It's 7 pounds, just shy of 7 pounds.
What, the 2 to 6? Yeah.
But then I started having a debate in my head, and I was like, no, if I really need to reach out there, I'll just phone cam it through a spotting scope.
Sure.
And then I'll just
It just
keep
depends
a-
what your
a-
goal is,
a
okay?
lens,
So
but
if I can film through a 2 to 6 with a doubler, it becomes a 4 to 1200.
right.
And if I use Sony Clear Image Zoom, I can crop it in the field while I'm shooting in 4K. And I can really see the subject, that it's in focus, that it's how I want it to look. Like I can make all those pieces work together. And there's image stabilization built into,
Yeah,
there is in your iPhone too,
that's not the same.
but it's not the same. But when I get home, it's versatile. I can crop it, color it, adjust it, change it, make it sharper. If you were to look at the footage of the animals I record raw out of the camera when I get home, it's depressing. It's depressing.
Every time Brian comes home, how are we going to make a film out of
I thought that looked a lot better,
No, been
I thought
there.
that deer, it's like, that is gray. There's nothing here. But once you add all the adjustments to it, it's different.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you look at, there's some footage out there I'll show you where a person took the same footage I did and edited it and published it, and it's got very little, it doesn't pop. And then you look at the footage I produced, it's all about the post, edit, color grading and stuff.
Yep.
So,
That's cool.
the slow motion,
idea.
the frames per second, all that kind of stuff that I can film. That's why the digiscoping thing that Stephen Drake does is more appealing to me, because I don't want to use a phone for that kind of film.
Yeah.
So you can basically turn your spotting scope into a lens, with the right digiscoping equipment. But I tend to just bring the lens instead. I mess around with both, and digiscoping is its own skill set. You gotta learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like either way though, you can't afford to take that little pump. So
Yeah,
that's
for
settled.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
never mind, guys. Don't get it. It's probably less.
well,
than 4
people
ounces
ask
in
about
the
stuff
backpack.
like that all the time when it comes to air pads and camp gear, and they're like, I'm running that 6.5 RPM Weatherby super lightweight rifle, lightweight scope, and it's titanium rifle, and people are like, well, you don't need that. I mean, you're only shaving a pound or 2 pounds off of your whole setup. Surely that's not a big deal.
It is when you're going.
When you're carrying 18 or 19 pounds of camera gear and batteries and stuff that's absolutely superfluous to your other gear that you're bringing, like completely extra by choice. Now that extra pound matters. That 5 ounces matters. That bit plus Ryan and I often go in
and come out with a
whole animal plus what we brought in with us. So we really need 3 people with us. When it's just the 2 of us, and we've done a bunch of those,
it's a struggle.
It's torture. Yeah. Now with Sly going with us, or Brad Hunt, or somebody extra coming along to film and help pack and stuff, it's much more doable to do these long expedition style backpack hunts. But man, the reason I push lightweight, like people say, do I need a Cuban fiber Seek Outside, or can I get a normal? And I'm like, dude, if I were you, I'd probably just get a Sil nylon. Mm-hmm. But are you carrying an extra 18 pounds of camera gear? Because then that 1 pound matters.
Yep.
If you can shave a pound here, 5 ounces there, and a pound here, and 2 pounds, pretty soon you're 6 pounds lighter than you normally would be for the same gear, right? Yep. The teepee does the same thing, whether it's the pound heavier or the pound lighter, but it's going to cost you a lot more. But if you're not carrying all this extra crap,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about that. So the air pump thing isn't a big deal for 99%.
Well, John and I were talking about getting rid of that problem altogether and coming out with a new product. It's going to be called the Chopper. Similar to a helicopter, a little more lightweight, and then you can just drop the gear you need, no matter what the weight. Pick it up, but
Seth will drop me and then hike in.
Yeah.
So,
wow,
we haven't worked out the details completely. But
I think the Chopper's been invented.
It's not a helicopter.
Expensive.
It's similar to that. It's just called the Chopper. Yeah, dual rotor. It's a long story, but
it's basically a big drone.
That would be handy.
I'll actually fly John in and drop it
someday,
and then come back.
Someday we'll have our own flying vehicles.
Yeah. Thank you, Elon Musk.
Thank you. So let's talk about. Well, first of all, let's settle this AirPad thing. Okay. The little air blower is tempting. I'll have to mess around with it.
It's like what, $27? Get it and try it. It'll blow your mind.
Have you ever used that cot by Thermarest? The backpacking cot?
No.
It's just got
what
the
was it
little
called?
legs. I think I've seen it.
I've seen them.
Featherlight cot,
Yeah,
I think, or something like
it.
that. I ran that for a season.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Worth it?
No.
It
But
can't
it
be.
was nice.
That surprised me that you.
It was so nice. Like, there was a lot of snakes on this hunt.
Yeah,
rattlesnakes.
It would be nice.
And I was just like, and the ground was super rocky, and it was like hard as stone.
If it was rocky, I bet it was as hard as stone.
Thermaless ultralight cot.
How high off the ground is it?
It's only like
it was
4
only
inches.
like 3 or 4 inches off the ground, but then you add your air pad on top of that,
Seems like a
and then you
rattlesnake
sleep
could
on
get
top
up
of that.
Yeah, I've seen them get up on logs.
And then
so I'm
if
pretty
water
sure they can
rolls
get up on
underneath,
logs.
or I had brought a tarp, just a basic tarp, and I mostly slept out under the stars every day on the hunt.
Yeah.
But then I had a tarp above me in case I needed like a 6-ounce tarp. So in the end, I was justifying the weight because I wasn't bringing like a full-on tent and stuff.
No, you would sleep a lot better
how
on the
heavy was
cot
it?
than the ground.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Oh, it was heavenly. I slept really well, but I hated carrying it around all
How
day.
much is it? A couple pounds?
How much does it weigh, Brent?
Depending on the size you get, it's 2 to 3 pounds.
Yeah.
That might be worth it. I don't have 18 pounds of camera
Yeah,
gear.
you could carry
so-
both of ours, and I'll carry the camera gear.
It's pretty nice. It's kind of a pain in the butt to set up.
I was going to say, I hate the setting that thing up.
It's kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, because it would have to come all apart. Yeah, no thanks. I'll take the
No,
ground.
I mean, I could keep it intact and
No, you
stuff.
couldn't.
But at the
I'll
end of the
take ground.
day,
If you can sleep better, though.
at the end of the day, I sleep pretty darn good on my.
You're an alpha sleeper.
On my Thermarest AirPad is pretty legit. But I need to check out the Xtherm. Ryan liked it. Ryan liked it a lot.
I need to get a new one too. I might check that one out.
Yeah, I just ordered that one today just to see how it is. It's super light. But.
So tell me about this other version you've got of the canvas cutter.
Yeah, so
It kind of ties into this a little bit.
That's where I thought he was going until the chopper thing came up. But.
Yeah.
You
need him. You know.
I do.
Yeah, John keeps you from being dumb.
He is the anchor.
I tried kicking him, but I missed.
So. So we have dropped, when this airs, lightweight bedroll. It's a product that people have been asking for since canvas cutter's conception, pretty much. We would get customers. We actually have a customer that we're just going to send one to for free because for the last 3 years, he's been DMing us about, are you guys going to come out with a lightweight one? Like, right. A lightweight one. And so to say, you know what, bro, like, we love you. Here, thanks for the support. We're going to send him one. But we are coming out with a lightweight bedroll called the Summit. It took quite a while before we decided we were actually going to pursue it because lightweight is not what we do. We make heavy duty.
Comfort.
Yeah, we're about comfort, simplicity, and durability.
I almost want to kill that animal and hike out. I mean, the big part of it is just so I could sleep in my canvas cutter that night when I get to the truck.
It's a great recovery.
It's like, and you zip that thing up and you crawl in and you sleep like you're in your home bed. That I can't get from anywhere else, really. I struggle.
A lot of people don't have to hike in and kill an animal to get that. There's a decent amount of people that sleep in theirs every night.
Yeah,
Brian,
there is that
next to their bed. I don't get it. Anyways, so the problem though that we run into is we make durable products that are typically heavy because they're canvas and we're called canvas cutter. And I was concerned for the longest time about how are we going to make something lightweight and durable. Like there's really good materials and they're tough, but you'll watch product reviews and they'll still mention like when you're setting it up, you need to be careful.
Right.
This material is more fragile.
Like that Neolite AirPad, you better be careful.
Like that doesn't fit our brand. So we had to play a balancing act of durable, high quality, simple, and lightweight. Yeah. And it's more difficult than I think a lot of people think. It's the same thing that you butt into with people want something waterproof, but they also want it breathable.
Right.
And to find a happy medium there,
it's tough.
It's tough. Yeah. It takes some give and take. And so after several years, we decided to really start attacking it. It's over a year now.
Yeah, we went through a lot of prototypes.
We went through a lot of prototypes and a lot of going back and forth and a lot of testing. But we finally, I think we struck gold. And there will be some improvements as we get customer feedback, and we always are going to continually improve all our products. But I think we hit durability and quality and lightweight.
Put them
together. Yeah.
Marry them with function.
So this is actually mine.
Okay.
So it is used. This isn't the size it will be if you decide to purchase one. This has my AirPad that Brian hates, and it's got a synthetic down blanket inside of it and a pillow that Brian hates inside of it. And it's just slightly over 5 pounds. It's 5.3 pounds.
So this would be your whole sleep system. This would be
that is my whole sleep system right now.
How warm does this keep you? What season can this work on?
I haven't slept in a snowstorm yet. It's still cold enough that I was talking to Ben, actually. He took his to Arizona on a shed hunt, so he's going to tell me it's supposed to be cold, and then I'm going to sleep in it when it's really cold too. I think you could get away with it into some pretty cold temps.
Like 30 degrees or 40?
Oh, I think 30 for sure, because the nylon
it's above freezing,
is breathable, but
it's quite. You think it's probably this 5 pounds will probably get the job done?
I do, yeah. But everybody sleeps different, so that synthetic blanket works great for me. But if I put my heavier down bag in here, it takes it to 6.3, 6.4
That's too
pounds.
warm. That's too warm. I like Spring Bear. I'm thinking, right? It might get to 28 at night now and then, but usually, and those are just those last few hours before the sun pops. At night it can drop, but usually I suppose it's hovering right above freezing at night, and then some nights are very hot. Most of the nights are like 40 or 50 degrees, and you're just like, this sucks. Damn. And I'm in a 20-degree Stone Glacier chill coot, and I'm like, I cannot sleep. And the ticks bother me. Yeah. Ticks freak me out. And I don't really need a full-on shelter because it's springtime. Mm-hmm. I just want to post up and go to bed. I want to do a tick search, make sure there's none on me, and then I want to zip up in some safety and warmth.
Well, and the Summit has a bunch of features on it, too, that help you adjust the temperature inside and also manage airflow, because it has a built-in mesh screen, a nylon mesh screen. And since it's got 4 zipper pulls for both the nylon outer layer and the mesh screen, you can zip yourself into the mesh screen and not be concerned about the bugs and the ticks.
Because that's the one.
You can unzip the nylon shell as much as you would like to mitigate temperature or condensation and increase airflow, decrease airflow, make it warmer, make it hot.
Because that was something I was going to ask you is, how is this different than a Baby Sac?
Perfect. That's a great question. I actually addressed that in the product video. If you want to go to canvascutter.com, you can see that on the Summit page. It's not, a lot of people even call our canvas bedroll a bivvy. And they're like, 9-pound bivvy. Who's gonna? Yeah, it's not a bivvy. It's a bedroll, and this is a lightweight bedroll. So, like I said, my air pad, my down bag, my pillow, it's all in here, ready to go. So when I get to camp, I unclip these 2 buckles and roll it out. You can use it with a pull system. It comes with the same pull system we use in the Fortress. I prefer to tie it off. You can tie it off to your trekking poles or to trees, and that will save you a pound as well by tying it off rather than using the pull system. And all my gear's here. Where a bivvy, I'm unpacking my backpack, I'm taking my bivvy out, sitting it up, I have to slide my air pad in it, I have to put my bag in it, and I get in it, and it's usually just a nylon shell. Mm-hmm. Some people are stepping it up with the bivvy game, and they're throwing in maybe a mesh screen over your head. Mm-hmm. But this is a bed roll. All my bedding, all my gear for my shelters here, built, it's already in it. It's
kind of like a tent.
In a way, yeah. It's a bedroll that you can set up like a tent. It does have paracord D-loop, reflective paracord D-loops on all 4 corners, so you can stake it down. And then right here at the head and foot, it's got paracord D-loops to where you can tie it off. And when you tie it off too, it's like you're using our full-length pole system, because it keeps the feet and the head off of you at all times. To make it meet some of our durability demands, we added weight to it by using 210D nylon on the bottom. I talked to a few guys. I don't want to exaggerate it. I talked to a few guys who use a lot of ultra lightweight stuff, and they would tell me when they were getting ready to set up and go to sleep, they would have to take time to remove all the rocks from the area and make sure there's no rocks and it was just dirt or grass, because the material was too fragile. The rocks would tear it when they were sleeping on it.
Right.
And canvas cutter and fragile don't go together.
Right.
That's not how we work. So
Right.
So we did make it more heavy by using 210. Yeah, that's my pillow, bro. And it is legit comfy.
This might actually. I might consider this. This is not like a normal pillow.
You can remove this and wash it.
It's not dual purpose though.
Yeah, you can sit on this, bro, while you're glassing. And I need to stop saying bro. I'm just getting excited. You can sit on this,
blow that thing up.
All right.
Where's your air blower?
He's got
It's at Amazon. It's on the way.
It's a $25 job. You can't even. So I like this. I think this is cool. We slept on the ground a lot this year without setting up a tent at all. Especially for certain climates and certain hunts, I just don't want to set up a tent, dude. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I just want to lay out on the ground and go. That's one of the things that's so great about that canvas
especially
cutter.
if you get in late.
Go ahead and rest your head on that.
It's pretty good. I wouldn't sleep with it in like a bedroll.
At like my house, I just use a
but
usual pillow at my house, but like
for backpacking in.
It's pretty money.
Might have just sold them.
I think I did.
I mean, how much does it weigh? That's
0.43.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can take a puffy and throw it inside a stuff sack.
Yeah.
And
Think about it. Yeah, that's I'm not here to sell climate pillows, but it has been a blessing in my life. So we added weight so that you don't have to worry about where you throw it down, because durability is the name of canvas cutter. So
we don't want people having to buy multiple of them if they're out destroying.
Yep.
It is
sense.
nylon. It's not canvas. So we went with a 2D foundation, and then the sidewalls and the top are made out of 40D ripstop nylon. And it's got a TPU film on the inside to make the nylon waterproof, and all the seams have been taped. And the way the weather flap over the zipper is sewn, the zipper is completely covered.
That's pretty serious weather flap.
Yeah, and then the seam has been taped, so it can handle a lot of
Serious
rain.
abuse.
Yes.
So when you pop this thing up,
Yes, sir.
exactly how are you staking it with stakes?
Boom. You can. I actually have done both. You can. There is paracord D-looped where you can stake it down when you tie it off.
Yep.
I've also just straight up tied it off to trees without staking it down, because when I'm laying in it,
It just stays
my
put.
200-pound body keeps it there.
Where do you use the trekking poles?
You can use the trekking poles if there's not trees around, or if you don't want to tie it off to a tree. You can set your trekking poles at the head and the foot and tie it off and stake it down. Yeah, yes, sir. If you do choose to do that, tie it off rather than use a pole system, there is the mesh screen, the nylon mesh screen that we have inside, and to keep that off of you, we have these T-joints sewn into the top of the nylon with a D-loop on the mesh screen. So you just run it through that, and it holds the mesh screen up off of you when you tie it off.
How much does the pole system add in weight?
A pound. Yeah, the pole system's a pound.
How much was that pillow?
1.3. The pillow is
Half a pound,
0.43.
I think I might ditch the pillow and pick up the poles.
You could. You can. Yeah. If I go with that air pad you were talking about, and this setup then without the pole system would be 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds. If I used my heavier down bag, it's 5.5 pounds. And so that's pretty doable for me anyways. I know there's people who are like, no, that's way too heavy. I want to keep my sleep system under a pound, like the actual shelter, and then I'll go from there. And that's fine. I understand that if you are hiking a really long ways, or you're carrying a lot of equipment, but you have something that's fragile. And most of those systems are made out of 20D ripstop nylon, and maybe the foundation's 40D to make it a little stronger. and they don't have mesh screens built into them.
Right.
Like the features that are in the Summit, the fact that we have all those features, and it's still only 2.3 pounds is, I think it's pretty impressive, because this thing can take a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
And it still is lightweight. It's only 2 pounds.
It's going to be nice and comfortable too. Like for the mesh, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
If it is raining, you can. It seems to me one of the things about a Baby Sac or a bedroll like this is when it's pouring rain and you're trying to like get tucked away, right? What do you do? You know, and so you set this up and you climb inside, but you're getting rained on. You got rain gear, you got wet boots, and all that kind of stuff. Usually, we find a tree or someplace to shelter under a rock ledge or whatever. And most of the hunts we do are like that. They're not just flat out open country. But there are some where I hunted like that are just there's no cover.
Yeah, there's no
except for what you bring, you know. But I like the idea of what you've got here is simple, easy to set up. There's no real. You can pull it out and just get in. The rain is an issue if it's pouring down rain
with your gear.
Yeah. What we've done in the past is I bring a garbage bag, a contractor bag for when we do kill. I throw everything in that bag. But when I'm trying to get inside of a shelter, but I want to keep my gear somewhat dry outside the shelter, I just throw it all inside that big contractor bag and leave it outside because I don't want it to take up space
I've stuffed
inside.
my stuff. I've stuffed my gear inside my backpack because for the outside of snacks and drinks, my backpack's usually fairly empty. I can put my gear inside that, and you can have a rain fly on the backpack. Or I know some people are like, but what about your boots? There really is room on the side. I've always, in bad weather with my bedrolls, if I'm out in the open, I've always put my boots down the side and haven't noticed that they were there.
I always put mine at my head.
Yeah, you can stick them above the head too.
Yeah. So that would fit. Even my canvas cutter now, I do that. I just zip them up right inside the canvas cutter.
Yeah.
Cool. It seems like I'd like to try this out. Give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
out there
I'm
and see what it really
super
feels like.
interested in your feedback and in all our customers' feedback with using it, because it is a new adventure, right? We're going off with this in a direction that we haven't gone before by making something that's lightweight and trying to find a balance.
It's pretty dang light, and it does roll up nice.
Yeah,
you know?
The fact that all your gear's in one spot, and the other cool thing about the 210 base is that when you roll it up, all but 4 inches of that is the 210 facing out. Yeah. So we strap it on the outside of our pack, which frees up space on the inside of the pack.
Well, one of the things that I did this year when I was chasing elk, and we just stop, drop, and just set up on the ground, you know, and put our pads there and just went to sleep, and then woke up and took off the next day. We were in the open. I didn't have anything over my bag. It was just in the wind and stuff. It got pretty cold at night because there's no wind blocking really.
Yeah.
But one thing about that kind of setup is it is nice not to have to set up a tent or to find a spot to set it up. And if you're setting up on the cliffside or in a sheep bed, you know, a deer bed or something, or on a hill, you can kick that spot out. You don't have to pitch anything.
Yeah.
You climb inside, you crash, and the next morning you're just up, and there's no camp takedown time either. You just roll it up and you're just out. Yep. You're on the hunt.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for that. So we did that a lot this year in September, because why am I setting up a tent?
Yeah.
Why? Now, I did it without a canvas cutter, and it rained a little bit one night, and now you're scrambling to throw a tarp, and we threw a tarp on top of ourselves and tried the best we could just to ride it out, and
sleeping
it
with
was
the tarp.
gross, and we got soaked, and the next day the sun came out and we dried up a little bit. But it would be nice to have basically this sort of setup for that sort of type of trip.
No, it's perfect for that. Yeah.
And I just like the convenience, simplicity.
Yep. And one thing with the bivvies, most people get condensation in their foot box.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to tie that off eliminates that. Plus, we have the weather flaps on both sides, because that was one of our big worries is
that was one of
condensation.
our biggest things of I don't want to do.
So far, we haven't had any condensation
issues
with it.
with condensation.
I'm sure, depending on the season, you'll get
early
some,
spring
but
would be the worst time.
Yeah.
But
Being straight, like for me, this is really a spring, summer, fall, early fall kind of piece of gear. And I could see it being really handy. The other times a year, if I'm going to be cooking, I need a place where there's heat and I'm inside and all of that.
Yep.
But this right here would be really nice, especially with the mesh. Crawl inside there, keep the mosquitoes and the warmer bugs out and all of that.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
And then to be able to get up and just go, pretty handy.
And that's a lot of the places we hunt. We could hike up and back in a day, but if you see something late and you hike up, you have the option just to throw out.
Just to stay out right there, be classing first thing in the morning, not have to do the hike.
Yeah, and we've done that like you, just a sleeping bag, and it sucks, and you don't sleep all night. But.
Yeah, I'm curious with my Neo Air, this, and my sleeping bag and the poles.
See, the nice thing about the poles, if you do choose to run the pole system, is it doesn't matter where you end up. And if there's trees or you're trekking, like you don't have to spend time tying it off to your trekking poles.
That's the brilliant. That's why it's in my mind, and I'm wondering
quick
if I could get my own feather light poles, because I don't know what you're running, how light they are.
For the pole pad and the poles, they're a pound. It's aluminum poles.
And you haven't found another tech that's lighter weight than that?
We haven't pursued like a lightweight or ultra lightweight pole system for it, because I mean with those poles, it adds a pound, which, like you said, if you're carrying a ton of gear, which most people aren't, is a big deal. So if I was running poles with this setup, I'd be at 5 pounds. If I use my 5.5 pounds, if I use my down bag, I'm at 6.5 pounds. To me, that's not a big deal to me. Without the poles, I save a pound, but you can probably, and I'm sure in the future with feedback and everything, we could come out with a lightweight pole system, but right now we're not.
What I find attractive about this is like my typical canvas cutter. I can throw it out, roll it out, climb in and go to bed. Like I don't have to hassle. If I got to find a place to tie it off on trees and trekking poles or anything else, it's just that kind of setup process.
Yeah. If you want the quick and simplicity, poles are the way to go, or throw it over you.
But I want it without
even
the
tying
cost
it off
of
to
the weight of a pole.
Yeah. Even tying it off, though, it didn't take me, the last time I went out, it didn't take me very much time to tie it off.
Still easier than setting up a tent.
Yes. Yeah. A lot faster. And I'm saving the pound too to tie it off. Like you tie it off to your trekking pole. It really doesn't take that long. And twice I found places where there were some really thick shrubbery close enough together that it took no time. I mean, as fast as you can tie a little knot and then string it to this and cinch it tight. But and it saves you a pound.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight. That's why I was wondering if you could get those down to 6 ounces or something. Come on,
I'm sure we can.
Work on it, man.
I'm sure we can. And again, this is a new adventure. So we're just really interested to see how people react to it, how people like it, and then pursue it. But
it's pretty heavy duty
game for us.
Who has put this through the paces so far?
Ben has probably used it the most. Yeah, he used it a lot last year. Yeah, and
what's Ben
hasn't had any problem.
So far?
He loves it. Ben's a a larger stature person. Like he's tall. He's 6'3",
6'9", something like
6'9".
Right.
Super ripped, and he loves it. And the more we use it, the more excited we get about it. It's pretty.
Because even with the prototypes, we were all still pretty skeptical.
Yeah.
And then, but after using them,
I think it's one of those things that you got to use for an extended period of time to really find out
its value.
Yeah.
For you,
whether you're Yep. So you're launching it Friday,
April 2nd. Yep. You can go to canvascutter.com. You can use promo code GRIDDY.
Yes.
And or click on the link in the notes or the description
field.
The description field, and that will automatically. If you click on the link, it will automatically give you the discount when you check out.
Gotcha.
Yep. But you can use promo code GRIDDY too to save 10% on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's $319, and then if you get the pole system, it's $364.
Okay.
Yeah.
but if you already have the Fortress, you don't need to buy a second pole
Yeah,
system.
if you already have a Fortress, you don't need to buy the pole
Unless
system. It
you
runs
want
the
to.
same pole system as the Fortress.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I think you can get lighter poles than that.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then I'd be curious, because I'm thinking about this from a cliffside in a kicked out deer bed on a at 8,000 feet, 6,000 feet, and I just want to set up and just tuck in there in my bag. I glass out of my sleeping bag all the time.
Me and Ben were talking about that last time we were out.
And I'm thinking about this right now.
You could just glass right out of it.
Dude, I'd just get to our glassing knob, throw it out, climb inside, and glass for hours in my relative comfort in my bag.
With the
I don't have to worry about my
snacks.
sleeping bag. I do it on the ground all the time, or I throw out my ground tarp and sit on it, but it ain't the same. This is so thick, you could put your pad down and you don't have to worry about the pad getting a big hole in it as easily.
And it's super quick to unroll it and to roll it right back up.
Yeah. I just think some versatility. I'm seeing some versatility in my head, and it could be worth the any Baby Sac setup versus tent setup have their pros and their cons.
Yep.
And that's why I say it's the right tool for the job. It's the season from which you're using it and the type of terrain and the hunt you're going on. I don't want to use this on Prince of Wales Island in August where it rains almost more than it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Nope.
But where I'm hunting elk in some open country in September, and I'm mostly sleeping in the open sky, and I was on some steep hills. And same for mule deer. Some of the mule deer stuff I'm doing in August. This seems really ideal. And then later, when it gets really cold, I wouldn't mind. It's not raining. If anything, a little snow comes down, if anything. But mostly it's just cold and windy. Seems like this could be a money setup for that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And it will retain heat too if you zip it up more than you would like in your August, Septembers. And yeah, it would work great. But if it's super cold and you're going to get snowstorms, one of your Seek Outside tents would
when
be
you start getting there, it's like I want the stove.
Yeah, sure.
I want the stove. I want the heat. And I want to, it's so versatile. Dry out my boots when I get sweaty. But I can see like the period of time where Brent was editing a film today that we're going to release on Locals in a couple of weeks, an exclusive film over there. And Ryan and I are out hunting, and it's cold, and it's fall, but early, and I'm in my sleeping bag, just glassing for 3-4 hours straight. It's great. Yeah, it's great, but I have to do a lot of setup for that. That hunt's perfect for something like this. And the ticks, there's something about climbing inside where you're just off the ground and, you're inside something that can zip up and
it's got a sidewall on it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I want to see it with the poles. I'll put some pictures up in the YouTube video.
Yeah, do.
Probably post some on the Instagram story as well.
Yeah, I can send you some. Yep.
But
yeah, we've got a lot of photos on the product page that people can scroll through, see it with the pull system, without the pull system, and get an idea better. But
yeah, cool. All right, folks, check it out at canvascutter.com or use the link below in the description field. Use the code GRITTY because you'll get a discount, and that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else we want to throw in here before we close?
No.
I love it. It's called the
Summit,
folks. The Summit, Canvas Cutter Summit. Thanks for tuning in. Stay gritty.